Solo queue sucks. I want to preface this video by making it clear that if you want to grind elo, don't solo queue. Just play with the team. Solo queue is horrible. However, there are going to be times where you can't play with a team or your team just isn't available. And I think with the way Counter-Strike is, there's a lot of things that you can learn and try to implement and analyze in order to improve your game. But at the end of the day, this game is about reps. And if you always need to have a stack with you, I don't think you're gonna get enough reps unless you are truly a freak of nature. Yes, solo queue sucks, but in terms of accessibility, it's the best game mode, hands down. And so for that reason, I think that it's necessary that we actually think about it as a game mode because it is very useful. It is actually a great tool for improving at Counter-Strike if you know how to use it with intent. Counter-Strike is a very open-ended game, right? The rules are simple, but individual players are what make it complex. Every player is going to choose to approach this game from a different perspective.
Oh my, mommy, I need a heal.
Oh my god, you need a heal, come here. Alright, meow, meow.
Meow.
I think that when it comes to competitive game modes, we often choose to rigidly lock ourselves into one perspective, regardless of what the situation calls for. That perspective being this vague concept of winning or ranking up or making the number bigger. To actually begin getting the most out of your solo queue experience, I think you first need to reframe this perspective. Solo queue sucks because we like to win, and when you solo queue, it doesn't really feel in your control. It's hard to call plays, your teammates are going off, doing whatever, and a lot of the time they don't even communicate what they're doing. It's like wrangling a herd of Counter-Strike players. Winning is just inconsistent in solo queue. But genuinely ask yourself, why do you want to win? Beyond just winning is good, what do you get out of having a high elo? The only real use ranks have is to communicate to a team that you might be a competent pickup. And even then, when it comes to actual team Counter-Strike, the eye test and your actual personality are gonna matter a lot more than whatever your face-it level is. So unless you need to advertise yourself as capable of playing at a certain level, what are you winning for? The mic was not even on this whole time. Okay, let's remember the fact that rank doesn't matter and consider what that means. If rank doesn't matter, why are you scared to queue when you're about to D-rank? If rank doesn't matter, why do you get mad and tilted at your teammates when they do stupid things? If rank doesn't matter, why do you stop trying as hard and communicating as energetically when you start losing? If rank doesn't matter, why do you care about it so damn much? The first step is to stop caring. Stop caring about an insecurity that was given to you by other insecure people, and stop passing on that same insecurity to new players. It's just worthless. There's no reason to hold that. So if the goal of solo queue is not to get a shiny rank and prove yourself or whatever, what is it? Well, really, you can choose whatever perspective suits you best, but personally, I like to improve my gameplay because that's what I enjoy, and I'd like to share how I ended up improving enough to hit level 10. Not because I really care about being level 10, but because it's a good benchmark, and that's all that rank really is. The first step is to stop caring about losses and start focusing on process. Obviously, I don't try to lose, but for me, the end outcome of a solo queue game is not the important part. Sure, the end of the rep is the goal. You are trying to move something from point A to point B, and it sucks when you can't do that, but what actually matters, what actually changes you, is the process that happens in between. If all your focus is on getting to the end by any means necessary, yes, you might record more reps initially, but over time you won't see any real gains. It's tempting to try and hard carry, but there is a right way, a consistent way to play Counter-Strike, and I think you're only doing yourself a disservice by refusing to humble yourself and actually look at the bigger picture. Regardless of how awful your teammates are, you shouldn't stop trying to find smart, consistent solutions, because that's just the right way to play. That's the right way to complete a rep. Yes, solo queue is very inconsistent, and you won't always be given perfect teamwork on a silver platter, but I think that's exactly what makes it a great tool for improvement. The sheer variety of both winning and losing situations will turn you into a much more flexible and proactive player. Over thousands of reps, solo queue can turn you into a more consistently impactful player regardless of scenario. The important part is to stay attached to only what you can directly change. Focus on the variables within your control and how they interact with the variables outside of your control. If your teammates aren't fighting mid, for example, instead of complaining to yourself and getting in your head about losing, use the opportunity to learn. If mid is uncontested, how does this affect the rest of the map? With the concentration of players in middle, can you now take space into ramp and play more aggressively on the bomb site? How does the Palace Lurk like to support his teammates? Maybe you can find a timing to catch him off guard when he thinks you are looking at connector. Can you drop under and either isolate a quick 1v1 or maybe fight from an unexpected angle? How long does the Apps Lurker stick around? Is there a timing window to get aggressive into Apps and flank? At lower levels, does anybody even play Apps? Obviously, being able to fight mid correlates the most with winning, but even if your teammates are incapable of doing so, there's lots of positively impactful actions that you can take even when your team isn't fully comfortable on the map. Use each opportunity to try new things. Take different positions and learn what does and doesn't work in unique scenarios. Basically, instead of thinking about winning the round, think about what actions will positively impact your percentage of winning the round. The specifics are different on every map, but the overall idea is to take a genuine interest in the game. Act like every game you play is the first time you've ever played Counter-Strike, and every little detail and discovery is completely new to you. Focusing so much on the loss and the outcome is just not productive and not fun. Counter-Strike is such a simple but deep game. It's very beautiful, and you should treat it that way. Lock in on the actual process of playing the game, and I'm telling you, it's 1,000 times more rewarding than always worrying about, like, oh, am I good enough for this or that or whatever. Who cares? Fuck that. What is happening in the round right now? That's the mentality that you need to have. If you are sitting in the spawn reminiscing about what happened last round, you already lost. Like, you've given up. Like, it's like you don't even want to play anymore. You got to think about what you're going to do next and actually think about playing. This mentality is why I think it's so important to actually understand yourself a little bit emotionally, even for something like Counter-Strike. Until recently, I don't think I realized how deeply I was emotionally invested in outcome. I used to take a very black and white approach to life. If I lost, then I felt like, oh my God, I should just give up. Like, I'm never gonna win again. I can't do this. And this is just me. I'm just a loser, right? And if I won, I felt like, nothing can touch me. You know, like, I figured it out. Everything in my life is figured out. And I would reinforce that mentality with negative self-talk and comparison with others. And what I had to realize is all of those things just were not real. The root of the problem is ego, right? We like to think of ourselves as something. We have some idea of who we are, essentially. And we use all these mechanisms to justify that belief. We reminisce, we think about things that happened in the past, and we think about our failures, and we turn those failures into our identity. We also daydream, which is, I think, kind of the same thing as reminiscing, but almost in the opposite direction, and maybe even worse because it's a made-up comparison. We think about who we should be or who we will be with no plan of actually getting there. And this comparison with a made-up version of ourselves implicitly reinforces the idea that who we are essentially is flawed and bad. When you are always reminiscing about the past and daydreaming about the future, you kind of forget that, like, you are alive right now.
I'm gonna pass out these these papers, and just keep them face down. And if you would, no one write on these, write on your own papers. Keep them face down. Everybody have one? If you would, just do them one at a time, and I will tell you when to do them. Everybody turn it over. Just do your own work. And this isn't meant to be hard. These are anagrams. Just do the first one only. Go ahead and solve it. An anagram is rearrange the letters to form a word. Just one. Just rearrange those letters to form a word. When you're done, I need to see your hand raised. Okay, keep going. We'll wait. Keep your hands up, please. This isn't meant to be difficult. Okay, put your hands down. Let's just go to number 2. Don't even worry about number 1. Go to number 2. Solve that one. Again, when you're done, I want to see your hands up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do number 3. For number 3, rearrange the letters, and as soon as you do, go ahead and put your hand up. Here's what you need to know. You were both given 2 different lists. This side of the room was given these 3 words. The left side of the room, here you go. They were given bat. What would the word be? The second one, they were given lemon. Brian, the word? Melon. They were easy. The trick here was both of you were given the third word, which was the same. The third word was cinerama, which was American. Your first 2 words on this side of my classroom were not solvable. They were impossible tasks. I'm sorry. I know, but here's what we did this for. I was able to induce something called learned helplessness in the left side of the room very easily within about 5 minutes. I want you to think about what happened to you, this left side of the room, when you saw the right side of the room raising their hands because they already had the task done. What happened to you during that time? Jory?
I felt stupid.
You felt stupid?
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt rushed.
Felt rushed? Joelle?
I was even more confused.
You were even more confused because they all got it and you were still struggling. Chelsea?
Frustrated.
Frustrated. What happened by the time you got to the third word? Because I'm here to tell you, this side of the room is not significantly more intelligent than this side of the room. That was a random assignment. So what happened to show the differences? Why did you have more of a difficult time with the third word, which was the exact same word? Brian?
My confidence was shot.
What you experienced was a term called learned helplessness. How many have heard of the term before? Let me see your hands. Learned helplessness is often used in the academic literature to mean what? Jory?
Basically, they fail once or can't do something one time, and then they apply that to everything in the future, so all the future applications become skewed by that learned helplessness.
Sure, the past is a lot more concrete than the future. It does affect what we can be in the present, but my point is, a lot of the time, especially with things like Counter-Strike, we get more wrapped up in the idea of things rather than what actually happened. And this idealization and obsession causes us to forsake the present moment. The past and the future are not real. What's real is exactly what you are doing right now. The most fulfillment I find is what exists in the moment. And if you feel like you are having a hard time finding that, or you just can't find a genuine interest anymore with whatever it is that you're doing, like Counter-Strike, you're probably getting too wrapped up in the idea of it rather than what it actually is. And that's causing you to be less engaged, and it's causing you to have less fun and take it less seriously too. That's the interesting thing. It's like it makes you have less fun and also take it less seriously. Every moment is an opportunity. While playing Counter-Strike or doing anything in life, really, it's easy to drop the ego by yourself, but when other people start to get involved, it's just as easy for those walls to come back up. Not everybody is going to be on your same page of selfless improvement and focus. A lot of people, especially speaking as a North American player, will crash the fuck out as soon as you start losing. Hell, even while you're winning. The majority of people you will come across in solo queue genuinely do not give a fuck about the game. They don't care about getting better or having fun. They just care about elo, and they will project this all-encompassing obsession onto you. It's important then that you learn what I think solo queue is uniquely good at teaching and is Counter-Strike's hardest skill to learn. And yes, it is a skill, and that's talking to people. In this world, it is so scarily easy to just let things happen, regardless of how you feel personally. You can have the deepest spiritual awakening on your own and feel one with the universe and all that, but you still have to go to work or school the next day and pretend to be part of that crowd. The idealistic mentality and dogma that surrounds us, regardless of our desire for change, is just unavoidable. Not just through interacting with other people on a daily basis, but also in media and all other forms of social transmission. And at the risk of sounding a little pretentious, everything is designed to make you fit in with the herd. And even me prefacing that statement as possibly pretentious is also a manifestation of me trying to fit in, right? Like, look at how self-aware I am, guys. I promise I'm not cringe. Look at how nonchalant I am, right? And honestly, fuck that. Why not be chalant? I think it's way better to be chalant. Why would you not want to take an interest in things? You only get one life. Why would you want to spend it being all cool and kicked back, not giving a fuck? Give a fuck. When the energy is terrible and the social expectation is that you stop caring about the game, you need to have the ability to stay present. Even if you really don't have anything to say, just saying little things to keep the team and yourself engaged, I think, is crucial. The best way to start practicing this, I find, if you aren't like a natural energy guy, is just to focus on the economy, right? Something simple and seemingly common sense. Like, hey, their eco is terrible, watch out for a push or a stack, is great for getting people on the same page, right? Throw a hook out there to just gently pull people back into the actual game when the comms are too quiet. Not only for others, but for yourself too. I think that it's not just... I think a lot of people, when they make these solo queue videos about trying to carry and playing, the most high impact spots and, not trying to lurk or do supportive plays and just always being the guy, and seeing that as like the way to play solo queue. And maybe if you're trying to win in solo queue, maybe that's, if that's what you want to do, I guess that's how you should play it. But I really think that when it comes to Counter-Strike, improving your Counter-Strike skill, making a separation between yourself and the rest of the team is not productive. I think the key to socializing is throwing yourself into that situation as well, and not just trying to vaguely like put out platitudes like, oh guys, we got it, let's get this next round. Like, no, involve yourself in that, and like by increasing the energy of the team, you also increase your own energy. And that's what I'm trying to get across here is I think you actually play better when you try to be social and not try to cut everybody off and try to go do your own shit and carry. Sorry, that was a little off script, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. If you don't speak your intention into existence, your mind is just going to follow the energy of the room, right? You need to be able to stand your ground. Now, this won't always work. Sometimes, yes, people just suck, but it is something that you can improve at, and I think it's worth it. The most important thing to realize is that everybody else is human just like you. Once you begin to peel back those social layers and expectations, everybody is stuck in the same expectation, whether they know it or not, but they know they want something more, and you can grab onto that. You can be that person to open them up a little. You just need to take some initiative. And it does feel like there's one way to kind of approach this game, and we reinforce that and place each other back in line in order to maintain that. But I think that if we learn the ability to actually stand our ground and be regular people that touch grass, even on something like something that is the antithesis of that, like solo queue Face It, I think if we little by little are able to keep that up, then you can change what it means to fit in. And eventually, maybe one day, it'll be weird to be that guy that gets toxic immediately and like starts saying slurs and stuff. Like, I'm not hopeful for that, to be honest, if I'm looking at just the way people are. But I mean, what else are we gonna do, right? Anyway, that was my thoughts on solo queue and Counter-Strike. And, I know that was a little non-specific and maybe rambly, but I feel like a lot of people already made solo queue videos. I think I saw one from Ride or Die Shout out to him. I actually played a solo queue game against him, and I think he beat my ass. I'm not gonna lie. So I think a lot of people already made those types of videos, and I wanted to try something different because it's the same in CS video. What do you expect? You expect me to fucking give you a top 10 video? I did do that, but I want to make more interesting content because who said? Look, just because it's a Counter-Strike video, it doesn't have to have the same vibe as the 50 other. Here's every lineup on Anubis. It doesn't have to have that vibe. We can do whatever the fuck I want. All right. As long as you show up and give me the views, it doesn't matter. Subscribe. All right. That's all I have to say. Okay. Hopefully you got something good out of this video. I have like 2 to 3 more videos planned because if I'm being completely honest, I want to get this channel monetized because I already qualify for it. I just need to put out those videos. So I'm here for it. Gambling sponsors, hit me up.